Right, so welcome to another Top Flight show. And this week we're going to talk about Warwick and the next meeting, which is going to be Nantwich. So yeah, can't wait.
Thanks for having us. I don't know why I'm smiling so much. I feel like I'm smiling loads. I'm really happy to be back with my boy. And Jazz, of course. Jazz, really happy to have you here as well.
I'm going to get a permanent position on here now.
Yeah,
The debut was strong last week.
Contract's been signed, so you're in. Now the trial is over and you're in. You passed the test, flying colours. So Warwick. I've seen everything. I've seen all the action unfold on the lead bike, but I know you two were in the commentary box and we had some issues. But it was an absolutely cracking race. Yeah,
it was slightly different for me and Cam. We seen bits of it. What we did see was really, really good. Yeah. And
most importantly, the end result as well.
Yeah.
Like Dougie Musson from the front in those conditions, pretty much hitting the prize money to get the bonus almost, just outside sadly, but clearly he's in very good shape and he's back again, isn't he? Coming back to double up his max points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, and that's going to be a little bit of a theme for Nantwich. We're starting to see like a few people who are buying into the series and coming back again, which is great. But yeah, the race at Warwick, we will have some clips to like input now, which is great. But yeah, there was a group of three broke away, which was Sam Gabriel-Selassie along with Doug Musson and Jason Bennett as well. And there was the three of them broke away, and it's a really rolling course. And it was, I know you kept mentioning on the commentary where they were and what the splits they were going through.
Yeah,
I was like astounded how fast they were going through the first half of that course because it was all uphill. I thought, at some point something's going to give here.
We said this, like when you looked at the stream that was coming through, I always think whenever you see like any kind of race on the TV and there looks to be a slight incline, I just think, right, it looks like a slight incline on the TV, but actually when you're running that's a solid climb, that. And even when we were looking at the stream, there was bits that we were looking thinking, God, that looks hard work, that. So to do that, like, you know, what Doug done in that race was fantastic. But I think another thing that we didn't appreciate until the end was how windy it was. It was blowing an absolute gale.
Yeah, the first 4 or 5 mile, it was okay. Mm-hmm. It must have been like obviously the direction we're going, and like I said, there was three of them together, and then one of the hills, like Jason cracked, and he said afterwards that it was a big step up, but he wanted to just go with the leaders and say we went on. And then there was two locked together for ages, and it was around about, I think, 8 mile, where there was just one of the hills where a little gap opened, and then you were on the top and it was open and exposed, and the wind just totally picked up. And that's when the gap just like went, like it just massively opened. And then I was trying to give like Doug some encouragement from the bike, but I was thinking like, we've done so much uphill, there must be more down now than up. And then like a few hundred meters later, you're up another little kick of hill. And I was thinking like, yeah, I keep telling them that there's more downhill to come, but yeah, it was actually rolling the whole way, and he was so close, like 66.02, which does go to show that even though it was a tough course, like the bonus time payouts, they were like still like really achievable. And next year, like that course will set the course record bonus on like 66.02 because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like so it would mean something now, whereas we set those initial time bonuses for course records, for example, like at Nantwich we've got it at 29.30 for the men, and for the ladies I'll just double check so I definitely get that right. On the ladies it will be 32.45. So yeah, we had to obviously decide a figure that we thought was fair, but also achievable. So
that's the thing, there's no point in setting them if they're not achievable, because there's no incentive there. But when you've got a race and people can see what they can achieve there with them type of times, they'll be thinking, oh, well, you know what, I'm not a million miles away from that. So that's on the cards as well. And it just encourages that drive to run faster and pushing it, because everyone's going to have that similar mindset that's at the front thinking, I can get that time. They're all going to be like, well, let's go for it, let's get after it and get some coin for it. So.
Yeah, especially with the field we've got this time, especially with the ladies. I mean, we've seen them the last two races, we've seen the guys have pretty much bang on nailed the course time bonus, whereas the females has been slightly off it. This time though, we've got a stellar lineup, which we'll get onto soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Some really informed, some Olympians, informed people. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I think that the women's is going to be smashed out of the park. To be honest.
I think the term you're looking for, Cam, is some big names.
Yeah.
I was trying.
I'm all right. There is some big names on that list.
I'm sure the word Olympian kind of means something. I think that goes without saying, big names, really, doesn't it?
I think especially with like the mixed race as well, all the girls that are running, they're going to be pushed on even more because they're going to have the guys to chase. So it'll just push for even faster times as well.
Yeah, I think one thing to touch on there, like we're basically implying this is an elite race. Well, it's an elite race series. That's the whole point. So the times are there, but also that brings up something we were talking about like off camera before, that the nuances of the rules is it is gun time, and it's strict finishing position, like as you would have in like a world record, in a World Athletics series race, and we want to hold like the highest standard, and that like sort of came to a head at Warwick because in the ladies, Hayley Carruthers hadn't realised that that there was another lady up ahead of the road, like well ahead of her, and so fair play on Isabel Davies, who won the race fair and square, but afterwards Hayley Carruthers was actually a little bit faster on chip time, but she hadn't realised that Isabel was like up the road, so afterwards she was gutted because she hadn't really factored that in, but she was like totally fine with it. But I'd said like if you started two people pretty much the same on the start line, say take Newcastle 10k with the men for example, with Callum and Cameron Allen, that was so close at the finish because of the nuances of chip timing, where the chip activation could be slightly different. It would be absurd if Cameron Allen had won on a dip, but then Callum Johnson was wanting the course record payout because his chip was slightly faster. It would be
it's
stupid.
a total grey area, isn't it?
Yeah, it's black and white in terms of like World Athletics rules, but in terms of like
almost
general,
it cropping up, when you mentioned it, it's something I never even thought of it really.
You're used to it on the track because it's your torso and the photo finish and stuff, but on the roads to cater for the masses, because like 99% of people aren't at the competitive front end, and say you got these like massive marathons and half marathons where people are taking 20-30 minutes to get through the start line. Obviously it's a very fair assessment to use the chip time for most people, but right at the sharp end we had to say it's gun time, because we want a super competitive race, and say like the next 5Ks we get, say at Battersea, you have 10 people coming across the line at the same time. It would be ridiculous to pay the UK lead out to the person who finished 7th. Like it would just be stupid. So it has to be the gun time.
So basically get to the front of the start line if you want to run quick and get those points. Yeah,
I mean there was actually no excuse for Hayley for that, which is why she was kicking herself. She opted to run with her club mates, so she opted to start further back, not realising that there was somebody further up the field, which, not to say that that the result might not have ended the same anyway, but it was one where like afterwards she was just like kicking herself. So I was like, word of warning to everybody else. But like you don't want everybody fighting to actually be on the start line and have people who are like 50-minute 10k runners wanting to be on the start line. Like the chip timing does help for like regulation, for people to sort of self-regulate and start where they should be running. But at the sharp end, like we know that if you want to be on the start line, you will be. Oh yeah. Or certainly within. You'll not be as far behind the start line as like as a competitive difference. You're not going to lose a race in the start of a 5k on the
absolutely not. No. And usually as well, but when you set off, some people might set off like a bat out of hell, but everyone sort of comes back and settles in the pack anyway, so it doesn't really make much of a difference in 5k. Maybe if you were talking short distances, but like 800 maybe, that where 0.1 of a second usually matters, but over that long period of a race, often where tactics are playing and unfolding, it's not going to make much of a difference, is it? So.
Yeah, especially like in an endurance race, people get in groups and the pace like ebbs and flows. You don't want it to turn into something tactical where people are like tactically starting 2 or 3 seconds back,
so they can catch
just to
up.
Get into the group sit. It have absolutely no effect, and then at the end, like actually winning inverted commas, like just nonsense. But gun time, dip, win. Just make sure you win.
You never know the quality that everyone...
Gun time, starting blocks, I think that's what we're getting at, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah, could end up like Armagh, everyone going down at the start of Armagh race every year. That's competitive, like at the start of that race. That's scary sometimes.
Yeah, so I guess if we did get
carnage.
Yeah, if we
Ribble
did
Valley,
get
mate.
that sort of success. Yeah, well, if the series takes off and is that successful that you've got so many runners like Armagh, which is just that's a hyper event, that's
great,
that's
yeah.
unbelievable. But they've got a different strategy where whatever time you've run within the last year or the last 2 years, you go in a start pen for that. So the front section is under 14, 15 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then you're in chunks. So it is a pecking order, but you've got to run your way into that front pen, which is how it should be, really, a hierarchy based on your actual performance. Just- Yeah, it's good to see quite a few new people picking up points, but like you've mentioned before, I think we should get onto Nantwich and look at some people who might start picking up
Absolutely,
extra points now.
Should we start with the women's for a change? I mean, we have talked about the men's last time quite a bit. This time we've got a lot more females, top-end females in the elite start list than what we previously have, which is great to see. We're really excited about this one. I mean, first name on the list recently just came back from a silver medal at the World University Cross Country Championships. I'm sure everybody's seen that. She's got 32 minutes and 4 seconds PB, so well within the course bonus time if she's on top form, which I'm sure she will be given her recent form. Alice Goodall of Edinburgh AC, got them Scottish genes as well, so we expect her to be aggressive in that one. But yeah, I mean, do you want to name some of the other ones, Jasmine? Have you seen any of the other ones?
Yeah, I mean, Heather Townsend as well from Leeds City. I mean, I've raced her a few times, friendly with her, really lovely. She's very speedy, and she did a whole marathon block. I can't remember which marathon it was, but she did a marathon block, so she's had a really good bout of training. She did improved all of her PBs last year, so she's definitely on top form and will definitely be a good contender. I see her PB at the moment is 33.23, so I think that will go down as well. So.
Yeah, she's you can tell she's strong looking at a marathon PB, 2:37 there, 6th in London Marathon last year. That's an insane performance.
I think she won the Quayside 5k as well.
Yeah,
last
exactly.
year
Yeah, proven winner.
16:19 was it?
Yeah, so she's got a good turn of speed for somebody who she classes herself as a marathon runner now.
But she's quick over short distance.
She's definitely got wheels, and especially when we're looking at this course being like a downhill finish. That could be a huge factor. And it's really good to get Sonia Samuels on the start line. Yeah. So you're saying there,
I'm really excited to watch her. I think everyone will be, to be fair. It's great to see an Olympian on the start list. The fact is that she's been so consistent over how many years now? 2:28 marathon in 2023.
Yeah, well,
that's ridiculous.
Sonia won't mind me saying that. She's actually older than me. We went to Loughborough together, but she's like a few years older. So she was like an international athlete when I was coming to like the under 20s. She was already getting like under 20 and senior international vests. She's held that for 20 odd years, then had a little bit of downtime to have a baby and then come back and then to pull out a PB out of the bag. And I think she was 4th place at the Great North Run as well. She's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Sonia is absolutely flying and getting better.
Winning races as well. London 10k, she won that as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if Nick's entered, her husband Nick. Is he entered?
He hasn't entered, but I should.
You should pull him
Is
up
he
on
still
that.
running?
Yeah, he's still doing bits, isn't he? I think.
Like competitively.
I'm not as competitive anymore, but he's another guy who's like, you know what? He was known as like a last rep Larry. And everybody knows what that means. So at Loughborough, he used to just sit in the sessions, do not disappear. He was the first guy who ever ran with a snood on, who I trained with. But he would turn up and win the last rep. And he was always known as a bit flaky for training. But then like after uni, when he was like working and he had this job where he was like working loads of hours, but then he just started running even more and started doing like 100 odd mile a week, and he just kept getting better into his like 30s, mid-30s.
I can remember him having like a spell of like 3 or 4 years where he just became an absolute like force on the like northern circuit, I would say. I remember racing him in indoors and things like that, and he was Yeah, he was. I could never believe how old he was at the time as well. But anyway, we're distracting from the elite females here. But Sonia, like, incredible longevity in the sport. Like, to go that many years, think of the amount of training that's gone through her body. Like, to have that longevity in the sport and still be producing good times and winning races, you know, that's, you know, it shows what caliber athlete. And I just think it's class that you've got this race and you've got an Olympian in the race. I think, you know, I think for anyone who sets off in athletics, it would be the thing to get to achieve, to get to a games. Yeah. Doesn't matter what happens at the games, just to get to an Olympics is the thing that you want to tick off. So there'll be people there that'll be looking and thinking, well, yeah, she's been to the Olympics there. Yeah, so it's unbelievable.
It's current form as well. So she was at the Olympics in 2016, but her PB was like last year, which is unbelievable. Yeah. And then we've also got Shona Heaslip as well, who's an Irish international, and was 24th in the World Half Marathon in 2023. So she's got incredible pedigree as well, and her times are very fast. So she's got the fastest 5k by quite a long, like 15 and a half minutes.
She was the one when I had a good scope of the entries before this, she was the one whose power of 10 caught my eye, where I thought, she's not the quickest in the field, and I know it's hard to say what you think where people are going to place and things like that, but she was the one I thought, she's the second fastest female entry, but I thought I could see her doing this.
Yeah, so Shona, like, had to correct me because she's Irish, and I'd looked for her performances and I looked on like World Athletics and it didn't pick them all up. So when I'd asked her what her PBs were, I'd stated what they were, and she was like, oh no, I've done this, and sent me performance, so I had to have a look. Yeah. So for example, at Trafford 10k last year, she'd ran a PB, the 32:14.
Yeah, 32:14.
But because she's not British, it doesn't link to her power 10 profile, doesn't pick them all up.
Yes, yeah.
So really excited to get her in the field as well.
Recent PB as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it Trafford she ran that?
In 2023, yeah.
Yeah, so recent PB really.
And so she's 1 hour 10 half marathon.
Yeah, so she's going to be, definitely battling for the win, 100%. Yeah.
Already that's 3 women under 33 minutes with PBs under 33. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Let's hope
the
for some
fields
good
are
weather.
definitely getting stronger.
Yeah, exactly. Like the first few was a lot of cold calling, shall I say. Like, obviously I was just messaging quite a lot of people to say, like, this event is going to be great. Will you come? Jasmine obviously came, took me up on the offer.
Day one.
But because the social media and this show's been getting out there, and the work that we've done on the live stream, the highlight shows, because that's now like getting a bit of traction. We've got that exceptional commentary on the live stream now as well.
Yeah, they can't see out what they're commentating on, but
it is getting traction, and people are coming to me. Like, so Sonia's a great example. Like, I'm a friend with Sonia anyway, but I hadn't necessarily thought to ask her because I knew she'd be in marathon training, and where she came to me and was like, can I get an entry for this? And it was the same for Alex Goodall, because I didn't actually follow her on Instagram. Like, so she'd messaged about it. So yeah, all these things are like, it's definitely getting traction and it's getting noticed, and that means each field will just get stronger.
What I like is something we've mentioned for the men's, and we'll get onto it more, but it's good to see people that have competed in other races coming back, and we've got Cara Mackenzie Tate, who was 6th in Newcastle, so she's already picked up points in one of the series. She's thinking, hey, this is game on. I'm on for more points here, and she's back. And her PB isn't quite at where the top end girls have, that 32 minutes. But she's got her own sort of goals to get from this race, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
And a fast time and more points on the board. It's all gonna be clicking towards potentially picking up some big money at the end of it. So it's good to see that people are coming back to other races.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same on the men's side. We've got like Jordan Rowe, Jason Bennett, who was 3rd in Warwick, so he's got 15 points in the bag already. Doug, if he fits it into his training, he's obviously focusing on marathons and half marathons, so he wants to support all the events.
Yeah.
So he's already got 25 in the bag, so if he does fit this in to his schedule, then he's going to be putting himself right at the top early on.
You know what I wonder with Doug Musson?
What?
Whether he had that Palmo. Because he's living in Borough.
He didn't respond, actually.
He is actually,
Respond, Dougie. We want to know about the
Palmo. We want to know what you had, Doug. It was a hot shot.
Come to the quayside, Big Res, we'll supply a Palmo straight to you right after the race.
Well, we could say, yeah.
We should do a rate of Palmo after. Well, maybe we can get him in here for the podcast after. Get him to try it.
Well, as you said, he's living up like Middlesbrough type way now, so he's going to actually do our Middlesbrough race as well, which isn't top flight, but it is a pretty quick club. Can't even speak now. Pretty quick route.
It's Middlesbrough Half Marathon, isn't it?
Middlesbrough Half Marathon, yeah. So that's a new one on your doorstep, the 3rd of March.
Right. Great.
All the races are coming thick and fast. But not only have the athletes in the UK been picking up on this, I had contacted World Athletics as well about trying to get like a World Athletics label, and they had looked at the stuff, and they went through and they had a look at the YouTube stuff, and they were really impressed, and they did offer us a label. So we're really hoping that we'll get this.
Did you get offered the label because of me now?
Yeah, basically they looked and they went, yeah, these guys are absolutely
jokers.
Every penny, mate.
Jasmine did one performance and they were like,
It was me.
you're in.
Yeah.
All right,
Down,
Jazz, we want to steal your thunder, all right? We know you're the star of the show, but come on, sling 2 dogs a bone over here.
So it's absolutely amazing that they like recognised and have offered us that. Whether we can actually like deliver it or not, I'm not sure. So RunThrough just delivered their first world gold label event. They just delivered their Doha Marathon last week,
seen that.
which is absolutely unbelievable. Our first event abroad and a gold label event. So we can do it. I tentatively asked for the Top Flight Series races, not expecting anything really, and they said yes you can, but there's quite a few criteria things that we've got to like box off. So whether we get it now, whether it's like a few races down the line, or whether it's next
in the pipeline though.
But they definitely said you can do it. It's just there's a few criteria that we've got to make. So that's good to get recognised.
That's class though, like racing in a world label event. Like it's not like you can rock up to any 10k and get that like quality. So hats off to you, Chris. You're doing a great job.
Even if we can't get it across the line for like Nantwich or for like the next few, like it's definitely like
it's coming.
It's in the pipeline. Yeah. It's coming.
We want this to be an elite series. It's already recognised as like you're on the right trajectory.
2 races in as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually, James Tilley, who's like one of the guys high up in RunThrough, his local club is Nantwich, so that's why we originally got the event at Nantwich, and he was absolutely buzzing. Like he's basically his local town club that he's taken what was essentially like a very small town club 10k, and within 2 years, it's like, within 2 years, it's a world level event.
Look what I've done for you. Class. Good work.
He'll be mayor before soon.
Great work.
So on the men's side, do you want to chat with you?
Yeah, well, we've just been talking about Dougie, haven't we? I mean, he's returning, top points. You know, like you say, we've already talked about before in the podcasts and on the commentary. You know, your first best 3 performances. He's obviously wanting to get another one on the board as soon as possible. Get another one, so he's got 2 top points, double up on that. He's on 25 points at the minute. If he wins this, he'll be on 50 points. So he's already 2/3 of the way there of winning that money. We've got Jonathan Hopkins as well. Yeah, I know Jonathan. He's a great guy. He's a international steeplechaser, a bit like Dougie. So they both will know each other very well. I think they've done a bit of training before out in Fontramore. I was out with them as well. Did some runs with them before. A few years back, but 9th in the steeplechase, in the Commonwealth Games steeplechase.
Yeah, so more international pedigree.
Yeah. It's his first race at 2024, so it'll be interesting to see. I think he raced at Telford in the 10k. That time of year for him, though, I think where he's probably just building fitness, probably was on high mileage when he was coming into that race. So it'll be hopefully he'll be calling out and he'll be trying to hit that sub 30. I mean, he's more than capable of it, isn't he? Yeah,
so he's 29:01 PB, which we can't fully read into because it's not like super recent, but with guys of that level pedigree, if they're entering a race, like we've said before, if somebody's entering a race, usually they mean business, don't they?
Well, I mean, look what Dougie did at Warwick, right? Like, he's not going to be hanging about again. I said this to Red before the race. I said that I knew Dougie and he doesn't hang about. If he's out to race, he'll be aggressive, and he did exactly that at Warwick. I can imagine he'll do the same again. He's not one to usually hang about and sort of let the race play out. He's not afraid to take it on, so I can imagine he'll be for that. But Johnny's also very strong, So I can imagine he'll be happy for that, I would have thought. But you've got other class acts in there as well. Jordan Rowe's back. He ran at Newcastle, so he's got 4 points.
Yeah.
I think he'll be looking to improve on that, I would have thought.
Yeah.
I don't really know what shape he's in right now. I know he went skiing not long ago, so I think he did anyway. Maybe I got that wrong.
Bit of core stability on the slopes.
The strength, mate. Yeah.
So he ran well at 10k. Then we'd mentioned in the Newcastle podcast that he'd ran 8:15 indoors in the build up. So he's obviously in good shape. So I feel like if you're a track guy, it sometimes takes a few races for it to click. So he
it depends on the type of training as well.
Obviously different people run differently, but I think if you've got a course like Nantwich, which is like slightly up for 2k, not savage, but slightly up, and then flat and then down. If you're a track runner, as long as you if you use that first like 2k of the race to switch off and go like, right, I'm not going to get overexcited,
jump on the back.
If you just sit in and do nothing and you've judged it right, then on that downhill you've got the leg speed, so it could be the sort of course that plays into his hand. We've also got like Simon Davies, who's down, his performance has jumped out because on his Para 10 he's in a triathlon suit. So he's either on a fancy dress stag do or he's a triathlete. But he hasn't got that many running performances down, but he has got 30:02. So
that's recent as well. That was in Telford in December. So 30:02 there for a triathlete as well. Like me and Cam said this before, and triathletes, they're solid. They always churn out solid results. So
always very consistent,
you've got to fancy him to be, well up there. And you'd imagine, say if everything's gone all right and he's been training, ticking over, he hasn't had any injuries or illnesses, you're running 30 minutes at Telford, he's going to be looking for sub 30 here.
I think he'll definitely be sub 30. I mean, Telford, it was raining and it was basically a trail race this year. So I definitely think that he can run under 30 because it was just chaos. It was so rainy and muddy. So if the conditions are good, that is, which I'm sure they will be.
Yeah, March. We just about got away with it in Newcastle, didn't we?
Could be snowing or it could be 30 degrees. So you never know.
So we got away with it in January. February, we just about got away with it other than the winds. March, we've got to nail it, haven't we?
Yeah. Tell you what, though, one person I'm really looking forward to watching, I don't know if I'll pronounce this right, it's Jonathan Escalante Phillips. Did I get that right? Yeah, great. No, he sub 14-minute 5k. He's in shape. He's got 29 sub 30 minutes at Telford in December. He's high 29 minutes for a PB, so he's got around about the same PBs as Dougie and Jonathan.
He's got a good half PB as well, hasn't
he? He won in
64.25.
Yeah, and so he was due to run in Newcastle, but he'd had a little bit of a bug beforehand.
That was it,
So he was gutted to not come. So he said that he's desperate to come and support the event. He's had a little Achilles niggle and he'd gone and done a race in Ibiza,
which Escalante Phillips. I stalked his Insta earlier. On one of the links you sent me, his Instagram popped up. I'll have a look on that. Next thing you know, I'm on his story and I thought, he's in Ibiza. Won a 10k out there. I think he won it.
I looked. No, it's a really, really high standard race, that one. And it's sponsored by like loads of the clubs. So I was looking at it thinking I could get involved with this if it was in the summer.
Yeah, it has Schweier on the number.
Schweier on the number, yeah.
But
racing rave pack.
Hopefully he is racing. He's a real quality operator, just judging by his times. And, hats off to anyone who's gone out to Ibiza and not going to 10k. And
it's actually not very good a road out there because I've tried to do some runs.
Why does that not surprise me? You went to Ibiza to do some runs.
I didn't go to Ibiza to do some runs, but I did get up in the morning and do some runs.
All his mates are going to clubs and he's just on a train and holiday.
It's not the greatest road, but I stalked where the course was. It's flat, but it's
not a top flight course, is it?
It's not top flight, is it?
That's why they ain't getting well labelled.
It's because they've not got pies. They've not got great commentary either, have they? So.
Yeah, no, exactly. Next thing, you'll be getting drafted in. Jasmine drafted me. Leave them two behind, will you?
So we're recording a little bit earlier, so I'm hoping that between now and Nantwich we actually have got a bit of clarification on can we do a bit of World Athletics label stuff. Have we got a few more people in by then as well? So hopefully the field's going to be a bit more stacked, and then after that we'll be on to Battersea Park in April, which the entries are already rolling at like quite a high quality. with some repeat athletes.
Is
So
there? That's what I was going to ask, because I
Yeah,
noticed in the
exactly.
men's, just going back to that, we've got Jason Bennett, who's returning from third place at Warwick.
Third, yeah.
I think he was, so he's got 15 points, so he's returning back. Again, someone else eyeing
there's a
eyeing
few
up the points.
who are at Battersea who've done before, but also there's quite a few entries coming in now where people are entering like 4, 5 and 6
Right.
races. Some have entered like 6.
Yeah.
Or they've at least said, "Oh, can you put me in for these 2, and then I'll let you know about the rest." So yeah, we're starting to get like the multi-entries, which is what we want to see.
Well, this is what we said would happen, because people are because there's such a range of races, 5Ks to half marathons. Like, people are just gonna pick what suits them at a certain time in the season.
Yeah.
So they might not have even raced yet. And like I said, we're only 2 races into this series to start with. So, a few more races, and you've got these entries coming in for 3 and 4 races later down the line, because they know actually, this is when I'm going to be peaking, and I'm going to be ready for a 5K there or a 10K there or whatever.
It's building up, and one that I'm really excited about in May is Aintree 5K. So RunThrough do like 4 events there a year, or 4 or 5. But basically, I was at the last one, and it's a like fantastic atmosphere, and we had like 1,400 runners, and it's a 5K course, and they do 4 laps, well, a little out and back, and then 4 laps for the half marathon. Then the 10K runners join in to do 2 laps, and the 5K runners do 1. So it's a really busy course. It's definitely not designed to be super fast, and you've got there's a bit of weaving in and out, but it's a great atmosphere, but it's not an elite race. But the top flight one is, so it's getting remeasured. It's a 2.5K loops, totally flat. And it used to be, bit of history for you, and I didn't realise this until I'd gone onto Google Maps, but it used to be the old F1 circuit. So like about 70 years ago, the Grand Prix used to rotate between Silverstone, Brands Hatch and
I've seen
Aintree.
this on your
That's pretty
Instagram.
cool.
Yeah, so the old F1 circuit is there if you have a look on Google Maps. So we're not on one side of it because there's like a golf course and we'd have to play across, so it would be too dangerous. But basically we're doing 2.5K loop. We'll go up the famous Mellon Road where the Grand National goes across. But I mean, the Grand National's flat.
Yeah.
So it's basically flat. We took out all the twists and turns that we used to get the correct distance at a normal race. So yeah, some people might have, from the Liverpool or Northwest area, might have actually been to a run-through race to either do it as a training run at Aintree or being with like training partners or friends or family or whatever, because it is a really popular one, and they might have immediately thought, oh well, that's a bit twisty-turny, there's loads of people. But no, the top flight one's separate. It's 9:15, extra barriers, brand and I've called it the super loop when I've done it with the whole like the stuff with the venue, all the paperwork, and it's getting measured to IAAF standards.
Nice.
So it'll be ready for hopefully the World Athletics
Nice.
stuff as well.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
What have you got penciled in? Have you got any more?
I'm not
of the
sure
top
yet.
flight
I'm
ones?
definitely considering Batty next
Yeah.
month. It depends on like when it is, but probably a couple of 5Ks, maybe
Yeah.
a 10. Don't think any halves,
Yeah.
but definitely want to do a couple more to get my points up. But
Yeah.
we shall see. Maybe have a sneaky peek at the entries, pick and choose.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the inside.
Podcast privilege.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't fancy this one.
No wonder she's on the payroll.
Yeah, inside info now.
I'll let them have this one.
What about you, Cam?
I mean, I haven't looked at any of the top flight. It definitely will be a 5K at some point, I think. You are talking about just the top flight ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. I quite like the look of Battersea one. I don't know. I fancy it. I quite like the atmosphere that London brings. So I haven't thought about it yet, but I would say that's something that I would definitely like to do. But I would really like to race in a race where it's not a fast course, so that I can just have a go at racing it.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to do. So you're talking about Aintree not being like a fast course. I would actually quite enjoy doing that, because I would quite enjoy, because it's a bit like cross country where like
You just
you're
don't
just out and out racing,
scrap the
aren't you?
time
When unless
off.
obviously
Yeah,
you get
you're
an
right.
unbelievable runner
Yeah,
who
I
just
think that-
runs away from the field.
That was a lot of the comments about Warwick afterwards, that the men and the ladies who were up the front, they were all buzzing, because I was a little bit like worried afterwards were they going to say like, I would have really preferred like a flat fast one, but they were all absolutely loving it. And when I was on the bike, I was like, this is like a proper class old school race where like times do matter because of how we've done things, but like it was just a proper old school race.
I would love if we could get one of these races where it's like we get a really good field out. So let's say Antrim, just as hypothetically like Antrim, and we say get a group of runners who just run it tactically, a bit like a cross country race where there's like a park and it's out and out racing, a bit like, let's say in the 80s when you watch like Newcastle 5k on YouTube. If you haven't watched that, watch it. It's a great race.
It's insane.
Mickey McLeod who won it.
Stacked.
Was that 84? Something like that.
That was when he won the Olympics, but it was round
about
that.
And it's just like old school racing, like a max course, like not strung out from the start because there were so many good runners in it, and it was an out and out race, and it's kind of like that's a rarity now, and I'd love to be involved in something like that, and or even just commentating on something like that would be really exciting.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm trying to factor into the events when I'm like trying to plan these courses is when I'll watch like the Kipchoge stuff when he was trying to break 2 hours. The one that he did at Monza, he said one of the main factors that was missing was having like crowd interaction.
Yeah.
And when he went to Vienna to do it, obviously he had improved super shoes and even more pace and stuff. Yeah. But he said the main factor there was just there was a roaring crowd roaring him on the whole time. Yeah. So RunThrough have got a ready-made crowd, ready-made audience, but I feel like in athletics, which is what we're trying to do here, that your runners, your base aren't necessarily like engaged in elite level athletes or the level of athletes who we're getting out. That there's like a total disconnect. So I want to bring that. We've got an audience literally standing there waiting. So like Aintree is a perfect example, and Battersea. Like let's say Battersea Park, the 5k is going to be before the main RunThrough 10k and 5ks. Yeah. So we're going to have like there's more than 1,000 people going to be on that course. Yeah. With our MCs building the race up, that crowd is going to be massive. Like there was a great 5k in Battersea this week, but it was elite only, and there's the crowd of people who've come just to watch the runners. But you're talking like 50 to 100, maybe a few more people there, which is great. But we're going to have like 1,000 odd runners plus all their friends and family there waiting, and we're holding them up until this elite race is going on. Yeah. So we're artificially creating that atmosphere as well, which is one
makes
thing
a big difference.
This is one thing that RunThrough can do that other people can't. They can put on like one-off race, but they can't artificially bring the crowd because we've already got it there.
Yeah, it does. It makes a huge difference. I think you'll both know yourselves from some races. You don't feel flat, but it doesn't have like the same sort of like kick to it where you're competing and whereas some races, if the crowd are there and they're interactive, and especially if it's a local one and they know you're at and they're getting at you a little bit, like there's now better than that. I don't think so. I think that'll be mint.
Yeah. What's the course for Nantwich like? The crowd.
The one this weekend.
Yeah,
so Nantwich is a little bit country lane type, so Nantwich isn't quite like that, but it's a mass race, so I think we've got 1,500 entries, so it's again, it's another big, might be slightly more, I might be I might be underselling it here, but it's another big race where it's like, say it's minimum 1,500, maybe 2,000. I order the toilets, but I haven't actually ordered them yet, so I'll know. That's when I'll check. So I'll actually check next week, and
there was a good amount of loos at Newcastle actually. Didn't have to wait in a queue.
How much you're estimating party loos? How many?
We do one per 40.
Well, one per person, so at least 1,500.
That would come in handy at like National Cross or something. Do you know, like when everyone's queued up? Do you know that?
There's only one toilet at National Cross for everyone.
Yeah, everyone's
done joke, man.
Inter-counties or nationals or something like that. It's about 10 minutes before your race. You're about to just put your spikes, or you're about to put your spikes on. Right, your coach is like, right, if you need to go to the toilet, go now. You run over to the toilet. The queue is about 50, 100 people long. Yeah. And then you're like, oh.
It's stressful. Sorry for guys,
because guys can just like they almost just go in the bush, but like
you'll get us told off for that. Yeah. I think like if it's club events, I don't know. Well, if it's like club events, stuff like that, I feel like people do that. They have less provisions.
Got on to where people are going.
People complain less. Whereas,
Jazz asked about the course, man. Get back to the course.
Yeah.
I think though, with a lot of the course being an out and back, and you've got it as a mass. When the elite runners start going back, they'll have the mass runners going, and they always cheer for you.
Yeah,
they're always like, go on.
Yeah, so you've sort of got out and back, but with a loop at the top, so you're dead right. As they come back, it's going to be like a raucous atmosphere.
Yeah, that's what was class about the Quayside one, I thought. The out and back element of it. Like, and then talking about the crowds, like you had the crowds line in the Quayside, just people out on a normal Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's
Well, Quayside 5k is even more wild for that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
when
This one as well, isn't it?
the one where Scott won in August.
I watched that one, because you
The
brought me
atmosphere
into
was
Marshall,
wild.
didn't you? Come down to watch the race.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you literally stand up on the start line. He's Chris Power with a bib in my face.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you marshal? Oh, fine. All right.
It was so well because it was a Wednesday night. It was nice weather. So not only did we have like 1,000 people down for the race, but we also had loads of people who came to watch it and
I
people
was
who were
shocked
just
to
out
know
on the
how
town.
many people there was.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it
loads
was
go.
so
Like
busy.
I've been down before. I'd done my commentary debut down there, Cam, and I wrote. This is how I got you the gig here. But I remember the first one that you done. I'm sure it was the first one. It was heaving.
Yeah, it was not, well. The very first one I did was 185 people. That was 2014.
But there was still
Oh,
no, so it wasn't
But
that one.
Not last year. The year before, when it was
Yeah.
like 30 odd degrees.
That's
Yeah.
the one I
It
came
was
to.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I came to. Yeah.
So I learned from that I have to pack like 20 extra Marshall like bibs, and then as soon as the race
There you go,
starts,
lads.
I
We're
just
gonna be
go
stuck
along,
up
and
in
anybody
there.
who
We
I
don't
know,
need to
I
bring
just
all
give a
that.
bib, and I'm like, keep this clear, because when they come back, we need to keep everyone off the course.
Yeah. That was a sick event.
You were a hero that day.
You know,
Don't
I
big
do
him
try.
Yeah. I was going to say bigger and better things now, but that's just slagging off all the marshals. So maybe leave that bit out.
No, well, thank you again for coming and getting involved. And
Thanks for having us,
Well,
Chris.
thank you.
That was good.
Yeah,
Looking forward to it. To be fair, it'll be a good race.
yeah. So we'll be back in the commentary box on the 17th, so everybody can tune into the live stream.
Yeah.
And
Been practicing together, haven't we, on the phone?
Yeah.
A lot of hours gone into it.
Every night before I go to bed, he brings me up and brings me.
I'll leave him a voice note. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
yeah, so it'll be good. And yeah, Jazz will get you back in soon as well.
Yes,
Yay.
get in.
Good
Fabulous.
stuff.
Right, cheers.